Today on the show, we've got you covered from all angles. Whether it's NBA buzzer beaters or NFL draft day steals, we will be giving you our thoughts on all the major headlines from this week in sports. So stay tuned for the ultimate sports roundup only on the Norse Benchwarmers podcast. Welcome back to the Norse Benchwarmers podcast. I'm your host, Colton Smith, here joined by producer Josh Northcutt and co-host Ben Miller. Didn't say special guest this time. Hey! All right, we're gonna. How was your guys' weekend though? How's the week?
Stressful because of finals. Obviously, I think we all have been feeling that. But I got one more thing to knock out tonight, and then I'll be completely done, and it'll be summertime until next Monday when I pick up summer classes.
Yep, same here.
I mean, yeah, it's been a stressful week. I mean, got a paper to do. Had a presentation I had to do.
Yeah, we both got that same essay and presentation, right?
Yep, we do. Almost done with the paper, but got an exam I got to take for West tonight, so I got a lot going on tonight.
Yeah. So we better get going then.
Yep.
I got that essay to absolutely crank out tonight. So let's get right to it. Starting with the news from last week, we missed by probably about 30 minutes Trey Hendrickson deciding that he wants to trade, or his agent deciding that he wants to trade. Hendrickson last season doubled his total sack count with 17.5. Zach Taylor recently commented on a Sports Illustrated article saying, and I quote, "We want Trey to play here next year for us. He's going to play here next year for us. He's going to have success, and we're going to have success, and I'm excited for that." Okay. His current contract is actually until 2025. I was under the impression that it was only for next year, but it's actually another season on top of that. And this is just such a weird situation because the Bengals can't even offer him an extension. So what do you got? Do you think this is legitimate? Do you think it's just all hogwash? What do you think?
This is clearly a mess up by his agent. He just signed a deal, like you said, within the last 12 months. If you really wanted to voice his concern, you should have did it when they first brought it to the table. And what's funny is back when they brought it to the table, they talked to Trey about it, and Trey talked about how he wanted to be in Cincinnati and how he was looking forward to turning things around. Mm-hmm. You have 2 years, $39 million left on your deal. Let's go play some football, man.
Absolutely.
Yep. I mean, the thing that stuck out to me was, I don't know if you guys heard this, but he was planning on retiring.
I forgot to mention that, didn't I?
Yeah, I just thought, dude, like as a Bengals fan, dude, please don't retire. You're such a key factor.
I'm gonna let you know right now, he's not gonna pass up $39 million.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
he'll be in Bengal stripes next year.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't, even though I heard the retirement rumors, I was not concerned about that at all because I knew he was going to come back to Cincinnati and be a part of this franchise.
Yeah, I mean, that retirement just was so stupid to me because that's just not even like, if you're an agent trying to force that upon Hendrickson, that's ridiculous. He's in the prime of his career right now. Like I just said, he doubled his sacks last season.
Yep.
It's just all ridiculous, but he's not the only Bengal to request a trade this offseason, and we have some more information about that. I'll let Josh take it away.
Yeah, so according to Kelsey Conway of the Cincinnati Enquirer, Cincinnati's initial offer to Higgins on an extension never approached the $20 million average per year mark. While Higgins wants something in the Michael Porter Jr. Huh? Michael Pittman Jr. range.
It's probably about $20 million.
About $70 million over 3 years, which is about an average of $23 million a year. Fun fact: the Bengals have franchised T. Higgins this year for $21.8 million. The rumor is they're going to franchise him next year for $26.1 million.
Yep.
26, 21 equals 47 divided by 2 equals $23 million. He's getting his money. I get he wants his guaranteed money. He wants his promise of a long-time deal. It doesn't help his status of I want this money now and everything else when the Bengals are clearly, if they do franchise him the next 2 years, are giving him what he wants with the $24 million. The only issue now is the market for wide receivers are going through the roof. And T's probably worth more money on the market now than he was prior to all this happening. You got anything?
I mean, overall, just crazy how both these two guys who are key factors to this Cincinnati team are demanding trades. I mean, as Bengals fans, we don't like it at all. But, I mean, just overall, just crazy.
They're not winning a Super Bowl without these two guys.
Right. Absolutely not.
Especially now. Maybe if you trade T in the draft, possibly. But As of right now, you're not winning without T. Higgins.
I mean, just like Trey Hendrickson, though, I was not concerned that T. Higgins was going to leave this upcoming season because I knew he's probably more than likely going to be back next year and probably his last year in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, you know, that trading is against the Cincinnati Bengals like morals, so we don't do that here. We only trade picks or whatnot. But so I there was never a part where I thought they would trade him, but we've seen it happen before where players have sat out. It doesn't seem like a thing that happens typically in Cincy, but did Palmer ever sit out?
Yeah, Palmer sat out and then got traded.
Yeah.
And when everybody brings up, well, it worked for Palmer. I mean, he sat at home, he got traded, and the Bengals won that deal. Like, the Raiders had to give up everything. I want to believe, if I remember correctly, it was like a first and a second. You're not getting that for T. Higgins right now, so the Bengals aren't going to do it. Bengals only make trades when they know they're going to win. Yeah. That's the way they work.
That's a smart way to go about it. But we got some stuff going on at NKU, our first commit of the year of a very promising year for women's basketball. Ben, tell us about it.
So Abby Walterman, she's a transfer from IUPUI, which is in the Horizon League, same as NKU. This past season, she averaged 8.9 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, 52% field goals, 31% from three. And this is the stat that caught my attention because I feel like she can match up with Macy Blevins and Noelle Herbert really well. I mean, these were two ladies that were key factors on the offense, especially from the three, and they were one of the best in the Horizon League. I think Noelle Hubert, she was number 9, and I think Macy Blevins, she was top 15, I believe. So, that just got me more excited about this trio coming in for next year, and especially with our new women's head coach.
Yeah, we actually got the privilege to meet the women's head coach yesterday.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive meeting, I guess is the way I would describe it.
Came in, shook all our hands, got all our names. Now, will he remember them all? We'll see.
He already said he won.
Yeah,
so.
he said he probably won't remember them, but just doing that, it's kind of night and day from experiences I've had with not just the previous women's head coach, just other college athletes and head coaches. So
yeah, and then wanted to bring up, there was I saw the stat due to Matt Sexton, the voice of NKU women basketball. There was a stretch of 7 straight double-digit scoring games in the month of January for Abigail.
Wow.
So, I mean, she can get buckets.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think she's going to be very helpful to building what the coach wants to build.
Yeah. Their offense was pretty fun to watch last year, but it was very spotty. So, if we can get more consistency in that offense and the players on that offense, a lot of young players were players who hadn't gotten many reps were in there. So I think it's going to be a fun season to watch, and I can't wait to see where this team goes. But one last thing to talk about, baseball. Josh, I'll let you take that, as a lot of stuff going on in the MLB.
Yeah, so we're a month into the baseball season.
Does not feel like it.
No,
not at all.
We're about to hit the dog days of summer, so enjoy the playoffs while they're around. And baseball will be here, though. So for the AL outlook right now, playoff standings, yes, we're a month in, but I'm throwing playoff standings out there. The Orioles are the 1 seed in the AL, followed by Cleveland, followed by Seattle, followed by the Yankees, Royals, and then Boston or Detroit would be playing for the last spot. The NL is Atlanta, Milwaukee, Dodgers, Philly, Chicago Cubs, and our Cincinnati Reds.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Reds came in at 16-14 to finish the month of April. Treadwater is what we all wanted. 2, 3, 4 games above 500 is all we could really ask for, with all the injuries in the bullpen, the lineup getting switched in and out because of injuries and such. Can't really hate on that, but 2 guys I wanted to throw out there. Stephen Kwan is leading the way right now for the Cleveland Guardians. Did I say Indians earlier?
I don't think so.
I didn't notice it if you did.
So Cleveland Guardians, he's leading the way for them, leading all of the AL in hits and runs, getting on base and getting knocked in, exactly what you want. And then the MVP of the NL right now is Mookie Betts, leading the league in hits, runs, and OPS. The man is doing it all, and his only quote-unquote competition would be Marcell Ozuna, who's leading the NL in home runs and RBIs. It'll be a fun race for those 2 individuals. However, Ellie De La Cruz is not going to go quietly.
No.
It's a 3rd-man race. And, Ben, you had a stat before the show started.
Yeah. So this first month of the season, obviously a great year so far for Ellie De La Cruz. He's has a batting average of 245 with 114 hits, 20 home runs, 61 RBIs, and 89 runs scored. And I wanted to ask you guys this question. Should he be a candidate for National League MVP?
Yes. I mean, absolutely. Reds would probably need to win the Central to cancel it out. But the way I see it, your other two candidates are on the Dodgers, obviously Mookie Betts and Marcell Ozuna with the Braves.
Yeah.
Those two teams are loaded with talent. Right now, Ellie is carrying this lineup.
For sure.
So I would say, yes, Ellie De La Cruz should be on pace to be an NL MVP candidate.
Yeah. And I forgot to point out, he had 18 stolen bases, which I believe, I could be wrong, the most by any player so far in the major leagues.
First player ever in baseball history to have 8 home runs and 18 stolen bases in a month.
Yep, that was crazy. Just looked at that this morning.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts.
We were talking about it beforehand when you went outside. We really wanted 30-60 out of him. The man's on pace for 50 and 100.
He's on pace.
Yeah. So, but one quick fact before we move on, Jeff Carr of the Inside Reds blog stated Reds pitching staff currently is 5th in WAR in all of MLB. That is the most important analytic stat in all of baseball. Ranked 5th. We all had questions coming into the year about pitching. Those questions have been answered to start the year. Nick Lodelo, I am sorry. You are definitely a starter, and the Cy Young could be yours.
Yeah, he's looked incredible just most recently in that game against the Padres.
Yeah, Padres, 11 strikeouts.
11 strikeouts, absolutely nuts for him. But that is going to do it for our starting lineup. We are going to go ahead and move on to the winner's circle, something we introduced last week, where we pick who we think is the biggest winner in all of sports or for this week. And, so Josh, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, I will go first. A little preview teaser for later on in the show. I'm going to go with Cordell Volson of the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals did not draft a guard position. So right now, Cordell Volson will be the starter at left guard, and he's locked in for another year without any competition. Ben?
For myself, I'm going to the NBA playoffs in the Western Conference. I'm going with the game winner, Jamal Murray, hit against the
back-to-back weeks, huh?
Yep,
back-to-back winner circle for Jamal Murray.
Yep. I mean, this guy, he just shows up whenever it counts, and he's carrying the Nuggets really, really well with Jokic by his side and along with Aaron Gordon, so they're definitely the best team in the West.
Well, I'm going with no, I'm just kidding. Chris Middleton, honestly, because he was getting so many washed allegations throughout the season, and he definitely turned those around this past week. And I say that as a Pacers fan. I don't think it was talked about it much. Like, Dame gets a pass for having to adjust to the Bucks system, but Chris Middleton never gets a pass for having to adjust to Dame joining the team. And he's kind of proved, like, okay, you get rid of Dame, and I can still be the Chris Middleton that you remember.
Yeah, he's dang good. Like, he is the perfect 2, and he's maybe the best quote-unquote 3
in the NBA.
On the NBA. And like you said, he just got so overlooked that he's like, oh, okay, it's time to remind everybody who I am.
All right, well, let's throw it to a new person or a new member of the team, the camera 4. Garrett, what do you got?
This is Director Garrett on camera for the first time. I'm excited to be a part of this program in full now. My winner for this week is going to be Matt Hilton of Blue Sky Pest Control. He was called into action at Chase Field from his 6-year-old son's t-ball game for a game between the D-backs and Dodgers where a swarm of bees had descended onto the protective netting of the backstop behind home plate. Now, the crowd gave him a standing ovation when he was carted onto the field, and he continued to egg them on and like hype them up a little bit as he was being brought out to where the colony was. And so he was lifted up to the colony on a scissor lift. He sprayed them with a non-pesticide and sucked them into a vacuum to be released for later. And finally, after a nearly 2-hour delay caused by this colony of bees, the D-backs were nice enough to let Matt Hilton throw out the first pitch of the game. So Matt Hilton, congrats to you. You're living every working man's dream, buddy.
Yeah, wow. I changed my vote. That's my vote.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
My vote has been changed as well. He does a little more research than me. I was just like, yeah, Chris Middleton, he did pretty good. Yeah, that's great stuff.
That was a good one.
So that's the winner's circle. moving on to the NBA playoffs, which me and Ben mentioned a little bit. We're going to start with the West Coast here. Oklahoma City swept the New Orleans Pelicans. I was pretty surprised about that. I thought the Pelicans would sneak out a game or two. I guess if they had Zion, they probably would. But at the end of the day, the big three of OKC averaged 64 points per game. Josh Giddey looked like a serious threat out there with his three-point shooting, something that a lot of teams have been laying off of him for. And this defense held the New Orleans Pelicans 25 points per game below their season average. They didn't score over 90, maybe once, but yeah, still like an average of 80 points per game or 89 points per game in 2024 is ridiculous.
Yeah, for me, not surprised at all. No Zion, they had no chance.
Yeah, for myself, I wasn't surprised that OKC swept the Pelicans. I mean, without Zion, you're not going to win everything. But one thing I want to point out was, like you mentioned, Colton, OKC's defense was absolutely elite. I mean, the Pelicans were held under 92 points the entire series, and Cason Wallace and Lou Port, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name
Dort.
right. Dort, my bad. Ledoux Port. They were
just Lou Dort.
Oh, Lou Dort. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. I'm saying Purdue.
Yeah, I mean they did a great job defending the perimeter, and I feel like that was one of the key factors in this series sweep over the Pelicans.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that will translate to the next series against either Dallas or Los Angeles, which I guess that's a perfect segue. Dallas and Los Angeles, the Clippers, the ones that are still alive. That series feels like a movie to me. I mean, it is truly, every game has been enjoyable pretty well from start to finish. I guess the fourth game, the Clippers went out to a very early lead, but then watching the Mavericks come back, that was great TV. And it's been a vintage series performance out of James Harden and Paul George. It's just all around, and Luka and Kyrie are nuts, but crazy series right there.
Yeah, like Dallas, they were down 31, and they came back to be in contention for the win. I mean, I watched the ending of this game. Like, they were going back and forth for the lead, just bucket after bucket after bucket. And fun fact here is, if Dallas would have pulled off that victory, it would have been the largest comeback in NBA playoff history.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah. But overall, great game. Like you mentioned, Paul George and James Harden, they came up big, each with 33. So
yeah,
kind of hard to defend that.
Yeah, they almost look better without Kawhi.
I was about to say, the fact that they've been able to win 2 games without Kawhi is very impressive to me. I didn't think they had a shot in this series without Kawhi. They'll be without him tonight in Game 5. At home, though, I lean the Clippers. What about you?
Yeah, I lean the Clippers here. Yeah, I think the Clippers.
Ben?
Tonight, I'm going with the Dallas Mavericks.
I don't hate that. I'm really 50-50 on that.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting to make a pick there. It could really go either way. Because Luka and Kyrie just transcend anything.
It's a tough matchup, definitely, and it's been a fun series. I will say I've mostly only watched highlights. Yeah, highlights of the Clips.
Whatever you want to watch.
Because I've been deep into NHL hockey.
Yeah, we've heard. More power to you. If I get into hockey, I would. Staying in the West, though, we have another series that is complete. The Denver Nuggets against the Los Angeles team that is not alive anymore. Denver won 4-1. Jamal Murray is him. But an interesting stat from this is going into Game 5. I didn't get the stats for the series total, but the Lakers led, Lakers led 100. I looked at it and I was like, wait, no way this is real. But yeah, Lakers led 139 minutes of that series going into Game 5. I didn't get the Game 5 stats. The Nuggets led 42, but the Nuggets won 3 of 1 and ended up winning the 4th.
They're literally the definition of predator and prey. They just toy with other teams, and then they just turn it on when they need to. It's not fair how good the team really is, but I'm very looking forward to the next matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, everybody knew that the Nuggets were going to get out of this series, but I feel like one of the disadvantages the Lakers had was, from time to time, D'Angelo Russell, he was missing a lot of threes. I mean, that's mainly been his go-to. But I mean, Jamal Murray, always dominant in the paint, or not in the paint, from the perimeter, shooting those threes, and just overall being a great offensive player, and along with Jokic as well. So.
Yeah. I feel like D'Lo gets a little too much hate. I don't know if I feel like he just has his expectations are far too high.
He's garbage.
Okay. I disagree, but yeah.
I mean, I disagree. I disagree too.
I disagree. He had one bad game, and everyone just points to that bad game. He had 18 in the last game, 14. I mean, he's a 3-point shooter, and that's what the Lakers need is 3-point shooting.
Yeah. Yep. Alex pointed that out perfectly though on his podcast. He mentioned that the downfall of the Lakers was no help from Rui.
No,
there was no Rui. But moving on very quickly, Minnesota Suns sweep. Can't believe it. How you have that big three and get swept. Yeah.
Just look at Game 7. Booker had 49. KD had 33. Bradley Beal had 9 points.
Game 4.
What
You
did I
said
say?
Game 7.
Did I say Game 7? I meant the last game.
I got you.
Game 4, yeah. So, yeah, look at Game 4. I guess I thought this game was going to go to Game 7. Bradley Beal, your $57 million player, 9 points. His final foul, he fouled out. His final foul looked like he wanted out of the game.
Wow. I mean, this is shocking to most of us. I mean, I did not see the Suns getting swept by Timberwolves, but one of the disadvantages the Suns had was they didn't have any size against Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. And I thought this was going to be a potential upset. I mean, in the backcourt for the Suns, you got Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. I just don't understand how you get swept.
Yeah.
That was just mind-boggling to me.
Blow it up.
Yeah, it's the role players. It's the role players indeed. The Timberwolves have better role players, but looking over at the East, we'll kind of breeze through this as there's still a lot to be said here. New York last night just got upset by Philly. Kind of a reverse of Game 2 where
Maxey's 3.
7 points in 17 seconds Tyrese Maxey scored.
Oh, wow. I turned it on with 2 minutes ago. I was like, all right, maybe they'll come back. And he hit that 3, and I was like, he's him.
he is him.
He took over MSG, and he
like
quieted
Jamal
that
Murray
crowd.
before him. He is him.
Kentucky Wildcat guards. What can I say?
Yep. I mean,
delete that.
I mean, good point there. The NBA Cats.
That took a second for you to say that. Continue.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's a good point there. I mean, the NBA Cats, they just show up in big moments to win these games. But I didn't watch the whole game of this. I didn't watch the whole game last night. Excuse me. I mean, Tyrese Maxey showed up big, especially when hitting those shots late or hitting that three late to send it into OT. I mean, he went off for 46 points, 17 out of 30, and 7 out of 12 from 3 points. And just crazy. I mean, the Knicks, I thought they were going to win it. I mean, they were down, or the 76ers were down 6 with 30 seconds to go. And then all of a sudden, here comes Tyrese Maxey in these moments.
Yeah. Well, looking at the team I want to talk about, the Pacers and the Bucks, I really don't have much to say on this. I basically just went to I'm happy to be here to, all right, you guys better not screw this up, right? Like,
that was what I was interested to hear.
Giannis and Dame are peeking around the corner like, hey, we're getting healthy over here. And we had a very great opportunity without their 2 best players to close them out. But, I mean, this team at home is very good against any team out there. So even if they have Giannis and Dame, Giannis might take some time to get back to it. So I still have hope, but it's like you guys aren't going to screw this up, right?
I'm going to say, is there any word whether the big 2 are going to be back for the next game?
Doc Rivers says they are going to practice today.
So are you scared?
Oh, I'm shivering my timbers over here. It's exactly what I predicted. Giannis will come back and win the series for him. Not in the way that I thought it would, but
I will say it was an impressive win last night for Milwaukee.
For sure.
All 5 starters in double figures. But Middleton and Portis, 29 apiece.
Crazy.
Bobby Portis.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of it is these people give this role play, the role players a lot of flack on that Bucks team, but I think a lot of it's kind of just being held back by 2 ball-dominant guards. Or not guards, but 2 ball-dominant players.
I mean, with Giannis and Dame both out, I thought the Pacers were going to win this series last night.
Yeah. You didn't know
I was-
about Chris Middleton. You weren't familiar with Chris Middleton's game and Bobby Portis.
Yeah.
Bobby Portis always goes off for a random good game in the playoffs.
It's
So it's
nuts,
just why
man.
did it happen
It's
against
nuts.
us?
I just don't get it.
Yeah. But like you mentioned, Josh, all 5 starters in double figures, like these guys, they did a great job keeping their season alive when you got your 2 best players out with injuries. So overall, great effort there by the Bucks.
And then looking at these last 2 series, just kind of glossing over them real quick. Boston and Miami. So long as Miami does not shoot 23 threes in 3 more games, I think Boston will be fine.
Series is over.
We'll just have to wait and see.
No, series ends tonight. There's no way Miami's stealing another one in Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like their offense is definitely going to be the difference maker tonight, and I feel like Boston is going to win the series.
Yeah, they better. Porzingis' injury is kind of concerning. We'll have to talk about that, see how that all develops. We
Correct.
don't have necessarily a timetable on him yet.
But you don't need him for this game.
Yeah, for sure. Cleveland and Orlando. There's a series going on there. Actually, a really entertaining game last night. Came down to the wire. Donovan Mitchell stood on his business, showed up like he said, had 28. The Magic still had a chance thanks to Paolo dropping 39. But all it took was Franz or somebody on that role player or on that team just to make a couple buckets. But great game.
Yeah, I'm going to need this segment also deleted, but Paulo Banchero has become a stud.
Absolutely.
That dude has it all. And I now have gave credit to a Kentucky player and a Duke player, so I'm done talking basketball. You take over.
So I believe Cleveland, they came back from 20 down last night, right?
I cannot confirm.
I can't confirm or deny.
I thought
just
I
saw the
heard.
end.
Yeah, I didn't watch the game last
I think
night. that's
Orlando.
all.
You said Orlando came back or Cleveland?
Cleveland.
I think Cleveland came back. Yeah.
Okay.
From what I read, I got that vibe.
Yeah, I mean overall, this series has been really fun to keep up with. I mean, the series is tied 2-2. You got Paulo Banchero for the Magic, and you got Spida, Donovan Mitchell from the Cavaliers. I mean,
Yeah.
2 elite guards, but yeah, overall great matchup.
I want to throw one thing out there. I lied a little bit. We always talk about the Olympics and the future and everything else. Like Halliburton and Ant are like the faces of Team USA.
Right.
We're going to need to add Banchero to
Absolutely.
that group. And then Chet. Like, Team USA isn't just going to be built for this run for this summer.
Yeah.
The future, really nice for Team America.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Great points right
it's
there.
It's gonna be fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
These next couple of Olympics, but that's what we got for the NBA playoffs. Let's talk about the Triple Threat Trivia, a new feature of the podcast. Garrett will ask us a question, and we have to answer it. And if you guys want to you could pause the video right after he asks the question and comment down below if you want. We would love to see that. So, Garrett, take it away.
All right, gentlemen. So this trivia question is going to follow sort of in the same vein as my pick for the winner's circle. So my question for you is, on August 12th, 1990, the White Sox were supposed to host the Rangers before a lengthy rain delay forced the game to be postponed. How long was this rain delay?
Josh?
A rain delay, 1990s. It's got to be a historic rain delay.
It is.
I'm going to go 7 hours and 45 minutes.
Very close. Not quite.
I was going to say a much higher one. Give me 8 hours and 17 minutes.
Another good yes. Ben?
I'm going to go with 9 hours and 30 minutes.
You're all wrong.
Oh.
It's like Price is Right.
Yeah. So who's
Josh was indeed the closest.
Yeah.
The longest rain delay ever recorded was 7 hours and 23 minutes.
Ooh, so I went the wrong way.
It was a Sunday game that had a 1 o'clock around afternoon start, and the game was called at 9 o'clock later that night. The White Sox manager did not want to postpone this game because he kept hearing from the meteorologist that it was going to clear up. So he stood his ground, and that ended up being the grounds for the most historic rain delay. Longest rain delay in MLB history.
I will take my point
There's your point. First point. We'll have a leader. I'll put a leaderboard up there. We'll get a leaderboard up there. Josh, you have 1 point. And now it is time to talk about the NFL draft. We have a lot to talk about, so we have to try and bring it down a little bit. But we got winners and losers. We'll each bring one of those to the table. I'll let one of you guys start here. I think, Ben, you want to talk about the number 1 overall pick, so let's hear it.
Yep. I mean, Chicago Bears, obviously winners in this round. I mean, you got Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick, and they got the number 9 overall pick and Rome Odunze.
Hey.
I got it right. All right,
You should
cool.
get a point for that, honestly.
I should get a point. But I'm really excited for this rookie duo to do some damage this year on the field. I mean, they're going to be joining veterans Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift. So I feel like this offense, it's going to be elite. And just looking at Udunze's game, he's got strong hands that allow him to make tough catches in traffic, providing a reliable option for the quarterback. So overall, I'm just really excited for this Bears squad to get on the field.
Yeah, the only issue I have with the Bears is, one, they don't have a lot of picks.
Yeah.
They made 5 picks, and one of them was a punter. Now, mind you, he was the Iowa punt god, so there's a lot. But there's a lot of credit for that. But it is very hard to argue you didn't kill the draft when you may have the best quarterback and wide receiver in that draft class.
Strong May. But I mean, I agree. They're definitely one of my winners as well. I think regardless of my thoughts on Caleb Williams, he can be a leader. He can be the catalyst to turn this program around, or this, I was talking in college, turn an organization around. And I really love the Odunze pick. I think I said last week that he could be a Devontae Adams type talent, and developing under Keenan Allen and DJ Moore will be huge for him. You don't see a lot of top round picks get something like that. So
yeah. So now for me, I'm going with the Miami Dolphins. Loved their draft.
Really?
Chop Robinson in the first round, DN, pressure, Michael Parsons comparisons. Now, mind you, it's a cheap comparison because he's a Penn State grad and Michael Parsons went to Penn State. They got Patrick Paul, who I was very high on in the second round of the draft for when we did our mock draft that I wanted the Bengals to draft. They drafted Jalen Wright, who is a sure-handed pass-catching running back and also has speed. As if a backfield that already had Devon Achane, now they're getting Jalen Wright to go with it. They got one of my favorite pass rushers in Muhammad Kamara. He was one that I wanted the Bengals to grab in the mid-rounds. Didn't happen, obviously. And then you get the Washington guys, Malik Washington and Taj Washington. High upside wide receivers. Malik sure-handed at Virginia. It was one of those things, not a lot of talent around him. He had multiple quarterbacks when he was there. I think he had multiple head coaches. I love the Dolphins draft. Now, only if they could get a quarterback.
Damn. I'm not off the Tua train, I'll be honest.
I'm off the Tua train.
I'm not off it yet, but that's actually, I didn't really look into their draft, but that was a pretty good draft there. Honestly, just draft what works on your team. Get the speed. Get you need some defensive bolster. You need an offensive tackle. Yeah, that's honestly, I didn't have that as a winner, but I would agree.
Yeah, I love the draft, and it makes him even more of a clear favorite to win the AFC East for me.
Are the two Washington's brothers?
No, I don't think so.
I didn't think so.
I don't think so.
I feel like
but
there'd be more posts about him going to the same team, but I thought I'd ask.
All right. Colton,
Ben? Did you have anything to say about the Dolphins?
No, I think that's good. Just
all right.
Overall,
I was just checking.
Yeah, overall, just great analysts.
Yeah,
analytics right there.
So my winner is the Commanders, and I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever be picking the Commanders as a winner, even going into this draft. But I mean, they had the opportunity to do so. So they got their franchise QB and Jaden Daniels. Golly, I love him, but apparently I just can't say his name. Jaden Daniels, who I think could and likely is better than Caleb Williams. I'm very high on Jaden Daniels. And just simply bringing in that franchise QB like we saw here in Cincinnati can just turn around your team, can turn around the whole everything. Now, new owner, everything's new there. So assuming they're going in the right direction, which also looking down the list here, I really like their picks. I like the Newton there in the second round. Did they need him necessarily? No, but at that point, that was a steal for them.
You can never have too many trench guys, though. Like,
That's true.
honestly, the rotations, the way things work, and the way Dan Quinn wants to do things, I absolutely love that pick for him.
Yeah, I like the Mike
Sandstrell.
Mikey! Yeah, former wide receiver turned cornerback. He had 6 interceptions, which was second in the nation.
Yeah, the clinching interception in the national championship
he had
for
a
the
couple important
University of Michigan.
Yeah. Anything more you got to say about Michigan there?
Actually, just about Mikey, though.
Okay, let's hear it.
As you guys know, Mike Hilton, he is like a clone. He idolizes Mike Hilton. He looks up to Mike Hilton. He watches tape on Mike Hilton. The Commanders got a dog.
And they were the worst passing defense last season, so getting a guy like that is going to be huge for them.
Correct. He will not play the outside. He will be a slot guy. You won't put him on your best wide receiver or anything like that, but he will make a tackle when it's absolutely needed. I love the pick for the Commanders.
Yeah, and moving down the list here, somebody that you like, somebody we all wanted on the Bengals here, Ben Sinnott. Second best tight end in this class goes to the Commanders. He's going to be a great, sure-handed target for Jaden Daniels, somebody that I always like getting a QB and getting a receiver for that QB to kind of develop with, somebody both starting in the NFL together that they can kind of gain that camaraderie. But, yeah, this is the first time in a long time that they've had a QB that I truly, as long as he stays healthy, have faith in him becoming a top QB in the NFL since RG3.
Yeah, Commanders were actually my second choice, so this works out perfectly. One that you haven't brought up yet, I was a little iffy on. However, he's got the last name McCaffrey. He's going to be an absolute weapon.
That's true. He does have that.
He played quarterback, he played running back, and he played wide receiver at the college level. I love this Commanders draft. I think they hit it absolutely out of the park. And then they literally got 3 of the guys that I wanted the Bengals to get, like Johnny Newton, Mike Sandstrell, and Ben Sinnott.
Yeah,
were Bengals players that I absolutely wanted. So I love the draft for the Commanders.
I mean, just like you guys, I didn't look too much into the Commanders on who they drafted though, but obviously Jaden Daniels, I'm really excited to see how he'll develop this year and try to turn that franchise around. I mean, we saw it a couple of years back when Joe Burrow first got drafted. I mean, obviously he got hurt with his ACL in year 1, but year 2, he wins comeback player of the year and leads the Bengals to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm kind of excited to see where this Commanders team will go. A lot of new stuff. Of course, that can always kind of blind you from some of the glaring stuff, but it'll be interesting. So now let's move on to our losers. Anybody want to start?
I'll go ahead and start.
We'll let Josh start here.
This is one team I was high on, and they traded down twice. They drafted 1 wide receiver. They drafted a 25-year-old running back. And then they drafted a player that's never played football in his life.
Crazy.
The Buffalo Bills. What are we doing here? Like, the wide receiver core alone needed help, and you only got 1. Now, mind you, Keon Coleman, great player. I think he's going to be excellent at the next level. Potential number
Agreed.
1.
Completely agree on that.
Potential number 1 wide receiver.
Definitely.
But, man, you got to get a little more help. Like, there was no help. And a 25-year-old running back? No, thanks. I'm good.
You see, I like that Coleman pick. However, I would prefer who was selected with their draft pick that they traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, of all teams. Do we remember what happened the last time
PTSD.
the Bills traded with the Chiefs in the first round? Can anybody? Garrett, do you want to say it? Like,
I'm gonna say, Garrett, do you remember? Because
I
remember.
I remember. Does Garrett remember?
No.
Oh
no.
What Ben? Do you remember?
I actually do not.
Has anybody ever heard of the name Patrick Mahomes?
The second.
Yep.
I think it's the second, not Patrick Mahomes.
Touche. The second. Yeah, the second. Okay. Yes. No. The last time that the Bills and Chiefs decided to trade, the Bills gave the Chiefs Patrick Mahomes.
And I really like the Wilson. What's his first name? Roman? No, Roman's the Michigan.
Yeah. Which one are you talking about for?
Who the Chiefs drafted?
They drafted the wide receiver from Texas, Xavier Worthy.
Worthy. I knew it was a W. Yeah, Xavier Worthy. I like him so much I don't even know his name.
Really fast guy. Mm-hmm. That, because Kansas City just needs more of them.
Yeah.
What are we doing, Buffalo? Okay, look, I need to go on a quick rant.
Let's hear it.
Dear NFL teams, we all have a phone here that when they call and it's like, hey, this is who's trying to trade. When the Kansas City Chiefs are trying to trade you, don't answer the phone.
See this phone?
That's all. Thank you.
See this phone? You just toss it away.
Don't answer it.
Don't answer it.
Stop helping that team.
Please. Please. For all that's holy. I mean, Ben, do you got anything here?
I mean,
Ben's a little scared.
Yeah.
It's all right. We are passionate fans here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much to say about the Bills regardless, though. I mean, Josh, you made a good point about Coleman. I think he'll develop into a great player, but overall.
But you still got to get him more weapons. Like I literally think Curtis Samuel is his number 2.
Who's number 1?
Keon Coleman.
Oh.
He's got it.
Okay. I mean, starting.
Yeah. Also, though, add
Opening
on to
day.
that, trading down and not drafting Keon Coleman in the first round, you lose out on that extra year.
Yeah.
So you just gave an extra year of Keon hitting free
and
agency.
there's nothing to like. You could still draft Coleman at that spot, and it would still somewhat make sense.
Yeah.
Like-
So,
But anywho, they weren't the only losers out there. We can get pretty heated about this one coming up that Ben is going to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
All right. So I feel like we can all agree, and I think mostly everybody can all agree, that the biggest loser in this draft is indeed the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, to draft Michael Penix Jr. at number 8, I feel like we all did not expect this, especially after the Falcons signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million deal. I mean, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? I don't understand. I mean, after you signed Kirk Cousins, I mean, I was hoping they would get a defensive guy at least because they needed some help with their defense from last year.
or, a weapon named Rome Odunze,
Yeah.
to get Kirk Cousins help. Like, he's got Drake London. He's got Kyle Pitts, who I expect big years and big things out of. But how do you not take Rome Odunze at number 8? How?
Yeah.
Beyond me, man. It's beyond me. I saw a TikTok of this guy. He's a Falcons fan. He's like, the Falcons are the type of team or the type of person that would look at a car, see that it doesn't have a tire on it, and be asked, "Oh, what's wrong with that car?" "Oh, doesn't have enough gas in it." So, that's pretty much exactly what happened here. You got Kirk Cousins. You got needs that need to be filled. You got that lack there of a tire, and you go ahead and decide to put more gas in it, but the gas is already full. What are we doing here? I don't know. It just shows to me that they are not committed to Kirk Cousins long term. They don't think he's the long term option. Makes me question if he'll even be able to start. Maybe he's hurt so long.
They announced he will definitely start. He is.
Well,
for
I
sure
knew
the
he would
starter.
start over Penix, but he's not. There's no injury concerns with him getting starting day one.
I guess my big thing is, so you're looking at 2 years of Michael Penix, because I know you mentioned 4 years, but they do have an opt-out after 2. It's $290 guaranteed. So next 2 years, Kirk Cousins is the starting quarterback for Atlanta. There's no ands, buts about that.
Correct.
Michael Penix will be 26 years old and sitting on the bench for 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. I mean, I feel like Michael Penix Jr., I think he had, from what we all saw at Washington, leading them to the national championship, I felt like he had potential to be a starting quarterback, but now that he's not going to get much playing time on the field, it's definitely a shame for sure.
In the Falcons' defense, I will close with this. In the Falcons' defense, literally, after they drafted Michael Penix, everyone's complaint was the defensive line needed to be addressed. They drafted a D-line, edge defender, actually, D-line, and linebacker after that. All of which are prospects that I like, could develop into starters, but you could have gotten a much better prospect at 8.
Yeah, there was a lot of hype on Ruocco coming out. They wanted him here in Cincinnati. He's a run stuffer and everything else.
Yeah.
Braylon Trice, I'm a little iffy on because he's that tweener linebacker DN guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm assuming Dan Quinn will move to the 3-4, so he makes a little more sense. But like I said, So for the next 2 years, you're
Dan
getting
Quinn and the Falcons?
Oh no, not Raheem Morris.
Raheem
Morris. Yeah, Raheem Morris.
Well, you said that and it made sense, and I was like, well, he used to coach them, but like,
sorry.
wait a minute, no,
Yeah,
he's over at Washington now.
Yeah, Raheem Morris. But the Michael Penix thing is just that's 2 years. You're not getting production out of your top 10 pick when you could have turned around and got production immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately.
I thought they could compete for a championship as early as this year.
They went from NFC championship contenders to I don't see it, and it's off of one pick.
Yeah. But so I have a loser as well, but not quite as passionate about it as the first two here. The Niners, I don't think they've got enough flack for their selections here, and there's not really much for me to go off of. I thought they reached on Pearsall, somebody who I liked for the Bengals last week when I talked about him in the second or third round, that they reached on him. He didn't even know he was getting drafted. It came as a surprise to him. Yeah. I like Renardo Green. I remember him a time or two, but everyone else just looks like fringe NFL talent to me for the Niners.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, if you're going to keep Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, I don't know why you take a wide receiver in the first round. That's just my opinion. Ben, I know you actually are a fan of the picks for the 49ers.
49ers, okay. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, you're good.
So I was interested by this. They drafted a running back, Isaac Guerrero. Is that how you say his last name?
Guerendo is how I would say it.
So interesting fact here about Guerendo. He was the third fastest. He had the third fastest time at the NFL Combine. And he has great breakaway speed. And it'll be interesting to see him learn from, obviously, the best running back in the NFL, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And not just him, but this whole 49er offense, which I believe is arguably the best offense in the NFL.
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, you got Brock Purdy, of course, Brendan Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle. So I have a feeling if he gets some playing time, that he can be a valuable addition to this offense.
Yeah, the one thing about Kyle Shanahan is he loves speed at running backs.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
the pick makes plenty of sense. But I don't, like, looking over the board, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
There could have been another pick or even trade down a little bit and then take a rookie. Because, again, if you're going to keep Deebo and they're going to keep Ayuk, I get the NFL's a 3 wide receiver set, but now he's also behind George Kittle. So
Yeah.
it's just – and he's behind Christian McCaffrey. So he's the 5th weapon on the field?
Yeah.
That's scary, but no.
No, just nothing here really stands out to me. I think none of these guys are really going to get many reps outside of maybe Green. And yeah, I think for the Niners, it's obviously not catastrophic. They're not banking on their hopes off of this draft or anything. Yeah. But I think it still needs to be talked about that it was just a pretty mid draft, if you ask me. It was under a mid draft. This guy gave it a D. So,
but I feel like we've covered everybody else enough. We should talk about the most important team in the NFL.
Yep.
That would be our Cincinnati Bengals.
Who day?
So throughout the draft community, it was a very well perceived draft. Sporting News gave the Bengals an A. PFF gave the Bengals a B+. USA Today gave a B. ESPN B. And NFL.com B+. So, Ben, I throw it to you first. What grade do you give the Bengals, and then maybe a pick or two that stand out?
I would give the Bengals a B+ overall in this draft. I mean, one player that I'm excited about, and obviously Zach Taylor was excited about when we all saw his reaction, was Jermaine Burton, wide receiver out of Alabama. I mean, just looking at his game right here, he has good speed. He's an explosive player, and he can play inside or outside the slot, and he averaged 20.5 yards per catch and no drop passes last season in Tuscaloosa. And I feel like him pairing with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, I feel like they're going to be a really good trio, and he can potentially learn from them as well.
My only issue with him is, one, the culture presence. When Nick Saban himself says he needs to mature, I don't know if either one of you guys saw the video of him talking about this pick.
Was that
after
early?
It was made?
Oh, it was after it was made?
No, it was made, and then it went straight to Saban, and Saban covered it. He flat out said, like, this kid needs to mature. He needs to learn how to become a pro.
That's interesting. I did not hear about that, but I do know he's got some off the field stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
It's debatable. I don't want to go too far into that. It's just when your head coach from college says you need to mature, and
And
it comes
it's
from
not
the
just-
greatest head coach.
I was
in
going to say,
college
it's
football
not
history.
just any head coach here.
Yeah, it's the greatest head coach in college football history.
Absolutely.
Saying this, it's a little scary, especially when you had the ideas of Roman Wilson, McMillan from Washington, Franklin from Oregon, Baker from UCF, and DeWalker from North Carolina out there. But I do get why Zach Taylor would be happy with this.
Yeah.
The man averaged 16 yards per catch last year.
Yeah.
That's a deep threat. Our biggest issue when we play the Kansas City Chiefs is that they take their two safeties and they put one on T and one on Chase. They're not going to be able to do that now if this kid is as good as what they say he's
supposed
going to be.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I think I like that pick, and it's very – but there was other people that I wanted. And that's really the theme throughout here. Amarius Mims at the 18th selection.
Damn you, Seahawks.
Damn you, Seahawks, yeah. But God knows we need this guy to be good. Like I hope it works out. But I just didn't. It wasn't a guy who really stood out to me. But he still can definitely.
This will be one that we look back on like we look at. And I'm not saying this is going to be the production, but this is how key and important it is for the Bengals' future. Like we look at when we drafted Cedric O and Jake Fisher and pushed Andrew Whitworth and Zach Zeitler out the door.
Yeah.
We're going to look back at this now because Mims is the guy at right tackle in 2025 and then into the future. They got him slanted in there as the starting right tackle after this year. My issue with the pick is just it's not helping the team now who's saying they're going all in.
Yeah.
I mean, for Mims, is that his last name?
Mims.
Mims.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I have my concerns too because obviously he was dealing with some injuries last year. He only had 8 starts, so I was kind of going up and down. Like, is this the right fit? Is this the guy Cincinnati wants at the offensive tackle? So I don't know. Just kind of.
Yeah. We need him to work out. That's simple as that. He better work out, or else we just wasted a first-round pick. But I wanted to mention, sorry to cut you off, but I'm talking about your guy here, Chris Jenkins. I really love this pick. I don't know why this is a guy that wasn't on my radar before the draft. Obviously, I'm sure he was on yours. But the more I read about this pick, the more I learn about this guy. I really do like him at the defensive lineman. I don't know, is he really a rush stopper, though?
So he's going to stop the run. He is DJ Reader's quote-unquote replacement. That will be his main job production. However, there's questions about his pass rush. The thing is, though, at Michigan, he did not have to pass rush. That wasn't what he was used for.
Would he really have to here?
We could use a little extra push up front.
Yeah.
But that's also why you have Rankins and you have B.J. Hill.
Yeah.
And then you also have Murphy and Hubbard who can play on the inside. So he maybe doesn't have to do that. His main goal is going to be stopping the run. However, if you've seen any of his videos on Twitter, the man is happy to be here. His father was an NFL pro. So he knows the experience. I want to say his father did 7 years in the NFL for the Carolina Panthers. Mm-hmm. So I absolutely love the pick. He was clearly on my radar from day one. And ironically enough, when the Bengals drafted him, he was basically the last defensive tackle in that tier. So it was like, oh, God, is somebody going to trade up and take him before us? And when he fell, I was like, if they don't take Chris Jenkins, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not mad at this pick either. I mean, at Michigan, Chris Jenkins, he was a captain at Alabama. At Michigan.
Yeah. There ain't no roll tide over there. It's go blue.
Ain't nowhere to be
go
confused.
Blue.
But captain at Michigan, on their way to a national championship, of course. But the thing I like about Jenkins' game is he's a good run defender, which is needed after last season for the Bengals. So it'll be interesting to see how he can develop and learn from others.
Yeah, I'll love to see him. I think he can definitely get on the field day one here.
Yep.
And
do you mind if I throw one more player out there?
Yeah, I just want to say, go ahead, talk about any extra Bengals picks.
Obviously, another former Wolverine, Eric All, helping restructure the tight end room. I love the double up that they did. A lot of people are higher on the guy in Arizona. I don't know a lot about him, but they've actually ranked him higher than Eric All. So they said if you just flip those two picks, it makes the Bengals draft look a little bit better.
Do you mean Eric All was ranked higher than the Arizona guy?
No, the Arizona Mashulin, I believe his name is. He was rated higher than Eric All on most boards.
Oh, okay.
And so if you swap those two, it makes it Eric All, because there's talk that they might have reached a little bit on All.
Yeah.
But the one I really want to talk about that everybody seems to be happy about is Matt Lee, 7th round pick out of Miami, Florida, center. Probably the starter in 2025.
Really?
Taking over for Ted Karras.
When you say 2025, you mean this coming season?
Oh, no. So a year.
Yeah,
he
you mean
learned
next
behind
season?
learned behind Ted Karras for a year and then take over.
Gotcha. I was just clarifying.
Yeah, no, they are extremely high on him. So I've seen nothing but good things when it comes to that. But to just finalize everything and recap it up, I do think that the Bengals, for me, is a C, because I will see what happens.
Yeah. he took our words right out of my mouth. So, yeah. That is all we got. Are there any quick winners you want to give from here? I like the Lions draft, getting that cornerback.
Yeah, just one quick
Taron Allard.
Yeah, one quick other recap. I love what Pittsburgh did, and that pains me to say.
Really?
But they got 2 dudes to protect Russell Wilson. They got him a Tyler Lockett clone and Robin Wilson. And then anytime that the Steelers draft a linebacker, he's going to produce.
Yeah. Any honorable mentions you got, Ben?
For myself, I don't know about you guys, but I like the Cardinals. I think they were winners getting Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, he's got good rhythm and good body control, snapping off comeback routes and adjust his body late in catches. So I think that's going to play a key factor in his rookie year. And I'm just interested to see if him and Kyler Murray are going to be the next QB wide receiver duo.
Yeah,
greatest QB wide receiver duo.
Yeah,
that's what I meant to say. Yeah,
definitely could be one of the best out there. I think he's got DeAndre Hopkins potential, which is somebody that Kyler Murray has worked with. But yeah, so that's it for the winners and losers. Chargers, I'll give you guys. I'm not going to say why, but Chargers, you guys had a pretty good draft as well. Now it's time.
Harbaugh. Sorry, it was really weird. That came out of nowhere.
It just came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
It's just somebody just like took over your.
Yeah, it's weird. Sorry.
That's odd. So it's time for to go back to you though, because it's time for the 2-minute warning. Josh, take it away.
All right. Before we get into the 2-minute warning this week, I want to clarify it. The picks that we're about to give are not actual picks. You should not follow, and we are not legally held for these picks.
I quite literally picked mine because I like the name.
Yeah. So again, we are not making these picks to tell you to make these picks to win money. These are our picks, solely our picks, and they have nothing to do with anything else. Legally, we will not be held.
Should I make a graphic of like a disclaimer?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, for the 2-minute warning, we are now about to start. Running for the Roses, most exciting 2 minutes in sports, fastest 2 minutes in sports. The Kentucky Derby is this weekend. Ben, who is your pick?
I'm going with the favorite, Fearness. He
picking the favorite.
He was dominant in the Florida Derby, winning by 13.5 lengths. So I'm taking Fearness to win the Roses.
Colton.
Just a touch. Just a touch.
Oh, fair enough. I'm going with Bistic Dan, number 3. Plain and simple, he's wearing number 3. Number 3 always ends up in victory lane.
Good point.
Sure.
Kevin Durant trade. Yes, no.
The only one I would see is maybe the Warriors on that, but no, I don't really see it.
Good point there. I was going to point out that you can send Klay Thompson to Phoenix in exchange for Kevin Durant.
Yes, New York Knicks, as long as it doesn't involve the Villanova trio. Whose career was saved, Justin Fields or Zach Wilson? For me, it was Justin Fields.
Justin Fields.
For myself, I'm actually going with Zach Wilson. I mean, I feel like him departing from the Jets was the best thing for him. So with his move to Denver, it'll be a great fresh start for him. And who knows, he can get some more playing time. Because if he stayed in New York with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, that dude is going to sit on the bench all year.
And last but not
got Bo
least,
Nix to fight with now.
Kansas winner.
I'll let you guys start. I'm usually different.
Kyle Larson.
Okay, I'm different.
All right. I'm taking Kyle Larson as well. Always a factor on these mile-and-a-half tracks, and Las Vegas winner this year. Colton.
Give me Tyler Reddick. These guys have owned 23XI has owned Kansas. Toyota is looking fast, so Tyler Reddick, he's going to assert himself with his second win this year. But, yeah, that's a 2-minute warning, which means it's time for the end of the show. Thank you, all of you guys, for listening. Thank you, Bill and NKU Media Services, for all you do, making this podcast better each week. Thank you, Garrett, for your work and finally making it on camera. You can show yourself if you want to say hi. Wave.
What's poppin'?
What? All right. Shout out Garrett. And you guys, of course, for coming on. And be sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below. Comment your trivia. I wonder if you guys got it right or wrong. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.